Alright guys, today we're going to be taking this worn out, beat up canopy with about 1 million holes in it, and we're going to be turning it into this. Alright, so today, for the beginning of the canopy building process, we're starting by stripping it down. We're going to take out all the bolts and different bits and pieces that I don't need, and we're going to drop the tray. So we're going to be taking out the spaces that are on the tray. That'll bring it down 100 mil, and then by the time we take this off the bearers, it should lower this down and it all should sit nicer with the cab and everything like that. So yeah, at the moment just going around, taking everything off. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. Alright, so in order to drop the tray, to take the spaces out, we have to take out the spare tyre carrier. So that's just held in by like 8 bolts or something like that. So we'll do that. We've already taken off the under tray toolbox because it's going to hang too low and we need to move it to get to the tray mounts anyway. So yeah, we'll start unbolting some things and then hopefully be able to lift the tray up, take out the spaces, put it back down. So let's do it. Down the bus here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, perfect word. You'd probably replace these rubbers, but we'll have to do. Alright, you want to come down at that, just real slow. Yeah. Oh, it's better, it fits on the headboard. Much better. Alright, so tray spaces are out, we've got it lowered back down, we're just lining up all the bolts. Yes, that's about 100 mil of steel, so it was pretty much raised just to fit the spare tyre, which, because it's going to be moved to the canopy and to bring the canopy down. Don't need these. Yeah, it's dropped down, it's a bit lower, but as you can see the headboard sits a lot nicer with the cab, it doesn't sit so high. Yeah, we'll get all these bolts in and bolt it up and then we can move on. Alright, so we got the tray all lowered. As you can see, it is sitting a lot better, much better working height, much better height for when the canopy's on top. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle to get a few of the bolts out, and but once we got them all out, it was pretty easy. I've just got the reverse lights just for now, temporarily mounted up under the tray. But yeah, until the canopy goes on, this is just like tray, and so I just got the spare on the headboard just so I can keep carrying it around. Next step is to start patching up the canopy, so holes, things like that, we're going to be welding in. Yeah, just give it a good clean up. So yeah, we'll see when we start cleaning the canopy up. Alright, so today, continuing with the canopy repairs. Started off, we took off the doors because all the rivets in the doors and the hinges needed to be replaced, and like the hinges we had to hammer back straight because they were bent, and due to welds, previous welds in the corners, they were like bending when you would lift the door. So started by, took the doors off, drilled all the rivets out, and we've put new rivets into the doors. We're just about to put the doors back on. We've also gone and patched every hole on the canopy. So there was probably like, I feel like it would have had to have been close to like 80 holes across the whole canopy. So we've gone around with the MIG and welded up all the holes. Any holes that were too big, we've used washers as like a fill, as like a plate to then weld in. So yeah, so we've done a lot of that, a lot of grinding to get them somewhat back to flat. And so now we're pretty much ready to touch up any exposed surfaces now, so any welds and any bits of exposed metal, we're just going to touch up, put the doors back on, give it another good clean, and then we should be done in terms of repairs. So we just used a primer for all the bare metal spots to start with, and then after the primer I just used it straight off the shelf at Mitre 10, you know, spray paint, gloss white. It's not a direct match, but it's very close. And then we were able to mount it on. So using the block and tackle, raised it up. And we laid rubber strips underneath because we wanted to have clearance off the tray, just so there is some sort of air movement in there so moisture doesn't sit under there. And then just using 4 bolts with big washers Alright, so as you saw when we first picked up the canopy, it was in quite the state from the previous owner. Had holes all through it. The wall was starting to tear from where he had a spare tyre mounted. Yeah, it wasn't really looking the best, but we've managed to do a fair bit of fixing up to it. We've plugged all the holes, so it's now waterproof. Well, assuming these door seals are pretty watertight as well. It should be waterproof and dustproof, hopefully. We've added to the strength of it by stitching up all the tears in the wall, gone over it with the paint, and it's made a huge difference to the back. Just a little bit of touch up with off-the-shelf paint, and then it's come up a treat. And by the time it gets covered in dust, you wouldn't even know that it's had a touch-up paint. So no, I'm stoked with the way it's come out. Especially now with the tray sitting down lower and the canopy off the bearers, it lines up absolutely perfect with the headboard, which is awesome, and the rear windows lining up pretty well, almost perfect with the window in the cab. And we've managed to do it all with the help of a mate. Just got it all done with it in the day, which was grouse. So a few of you might have actually wondered, you probably figured we've gone to all the effort of plugging it up, why not just respray the whole thing? If it was the clean as GQ, clean as tray, all those bits and pieces, then yeah, I probably would respray the whole thing. But for the car that it is, it's just a bit of a old clunker, so I think it suits it and it does what it needs to, so yeah. Alright, so this morning I just gave the canopy a real quick clean up, got rid of all the dust and swarf and crap with the vacuum. I then went over a few more welds again with the grinder just to clean up a little bit more, and then I hit all the exposed bits of metal with a primer and then just a bit of white paint just to stop any future rust. The white paint doesn't match the rest, but probably going to end up having some sort of matting or something in the base of this anyway, so I'm not too worried. So yeah, with that done, I'm going away this weekend for Australia Day weekend, so I'm going to be throwing on the hoop and then also the awning because it's going to be very hot this weekend, so I need somewhere nice and shady to set up. So let's go throw that on now. Alright, so we've sort of got the canopy where I'm happy with it until we start decking out the interior. We've got the rear hoop and the Kings Awning on now as well, which sort of ties in the whole sort of camping setup, if you will. Obviously it still doesn't look complete, obviously, especially when you look at it on the inside, but that's all yet to come. But in terms of how everything will look from the exterior, this is pretty much it. This will pretty much be the setup. Only differing thing is perhaps maybe the spare tyre on the back of the canopy and solar panel on the roof. But other than that, this is pretty much how it's going to look. Yeah, so when you compare it to how the car looked, only a few days ago, even like to when before we even had the canopy at all, to when we just had it strapped to the back when I brought it home, it's completely changed. Just the way with the tray drop, and now that the canopy's lined up with the headboard properly, it looks like it's meant to sit there how it should be. So yeah, it's come out well, and so I'm just keen as a bean to start sorting out the interior so that it's all set up for camping and things like that. So that'll be in the next episode of the Canopy Do Up. So if you liked watching us fix up an old canopy that had a hard life, give this video a like, get subscribed, leave us a comment below if you've got any suggestions for me. I'd love to see what you guys think of it and any recommendations on how to set it up on the inside. So until the next one, see you then.